Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and I'm an attorney that assists veterinary associates with employment contract and independent contractor agreement issues. Today I'm going to talk about corporate versus private veterinary jobs. So what are some of the benefits and drawbacks from working in one versus the other? So first let's talk about private practice. Maybe you're working in a small animal clinic with the sole veterinarian owner. Some benefits to that would be autonomy. You can kind of generally practice in the way that you like, how you like, and you have a much more say over the day-to-day operations of the practice. Now, obviously, if you're a veterinary associate, that only goes so far, where the owner generally is the one that dictates how things are done, but you'll kind of have the ability to provide much more input than if you worked in a corporate job. Now, ownership and potential partnership or buy-in opportunities are most likely going to be non-existent in a corporate entity. You're just not going to be or have any kind of pathway to becoming an owner in a corporate or venture capital, private equity owned, veterinary practice. Whereas if you are a veterinary associate with a small single-owned veterinarian practice, or perhaps a handful of vets, you'll have a much higher chance of being able to buy in at some point in the future. Now, benefits generally are better in a corporate-owned practice. Many small animal, standard veterinary clinics may not have the best benefits for a veterinary associate if they offer any. It's not uncommon to simply not have health, vision, dental, retirement, disability, life insurance with a smaller clinic, whereas with the veterinarian practice generally, they're much larger in scale, and therefore they have kind of better leverage in offering these things and negotiating good terms. So that's a certain benefit of working in a corporate practice, is that you will simply get better benefits. Now, compensation structure, this varies. There's generally two major types of compensation structures. One, just a straight base salary, which is pretty simple. I'd say that's used in corporate practice more frequently than if you're in a small veterinarian-owned practice. Percentage of collections is certainly a pretty common way to be compensated. That has its good and bad parts. If you're on a pure ProSal method, if you have negative accrual, sometimes that can be difficult when you're just beginning. But there's also upside when you get a percentage of your collections, whereas that upside most likely won't exist in a corporate practice. Or perhaps they'll have some kind of hybrid model where you'll get a straight base salary, and then maybe they'll do quarterly bonus calculations. I mean, at least in my opinion, it's a pretty good idea to incentivize any kind of employee. It's just human nature to work a little bit harder, be more efficient, be more engaged if you have opportunities to benefit from being highly productive. And I guess when it comes to compensation, timing of the bonuses is important as well. I find more corporate practices will string them out, meaning maybe they'll do an annual bonus, and there'll be language in the contract that says you have to be employed at the time that the bonus is paid, whereas smaller veterinarian-owned practices may do monthly reconciliations or quarterly. So that's another thing to think about. Overall, I don't know if one is better than the other. I mean, anecdotally, talking to so many veterinarians every week, most of them probably enjoy being in a smaller veterinarian-owned practice versus a corporate culture. I think they just feel like they have more say in how they practice, whereas working in a corporate structure can feel, kind of restrictive and profit-driven. Now, I also think some of those corporate-owned clinics have better resources, and so they can provide the vet with things that they may not have, or access to things that they may not have in a small animal veterinarian-owned clinic. All right, well, if you have any questions about an employment contract or independent contractor agreement, feel free to contact my law firm at the information listed below in the description, and I appreciate you watching the video. All right, thanks, take care.